Hello and welcome to this special after video of Project Crossland. Now, for those who are wondering, the Crosspedia is basically that of all the characters that have been throughout this entirety of this series. So we got the Street Fighter characters.
真の格闘家への道はまだ遠いよ。
Starting with Ryu, who was voiced by Hiroki Takashi. And Ryu has been the staple of Street Fighter since the first game back in the 1980s, the late 1980s. He's still one of the OG of the OG in the series. He's trained under his master Goken. He still continues to struggle to become a martial artist. He's basically been the one who's always trained and challenged himself to become more than he is right now.
俺が剣マスターズだ。間違いないでくれよ。
And then, of course, this is Player 2, otherwise known as Ken. Full name is Ken Masters. Voiced by Yuji Kishi. Ken, of course, has the same fighting style as Ryu. Just their ambitions are a bit different. You see, while Ryu is on the path to quote-unquote enlightenment, Ken is on the path of being a family man. So therefore, for Ken, he's just been the dude. He's just been the dude, just been right next to Ryu the entire time. And you know, it's not bad, but it's just like,
俺が剣マスターズだ。間違いないでくれよ。
I mean,
俺が
he's
剣
been
マスターズ
around.
だ。
That's the
間違い
thing.
ないでくれよ。
But as I said, he's basically the guy who's just been there, you know.
インターポールの捜査官、チュンリーよ。
I mean, the only difference between Ryu and Ken, as you can tell, are their fighting styles. There's more intensity coming from Ryu than Ken, as you can tell. One with the fireball, because of Satsui no Hado, and the Dragon Punch. Because he got the Satsui no Hado and the Shinchoyu. Whereas Ken works more on the kicks than the punches. So like the flaming Tatsumaki Senpukaku. As you can tell, he does more with the punches and kicks more than the fireball himself. So you've seen it before, like the Shinryuken, and the Gudin Tatsumaki Senpukaku. And even Ken admit that, you know, he's weaker than Ryu, and he's okay with that, as long as he got that strength to basically do what he has to do as far as his family's concerned, take care of his family. That's all it is. And then we go to Chun-Li, who's voiced by Fumiko Orikasa. She works for Interpol, ICPO, or, you know, basically Interpol. And she's a master of Chinese Kung Fu. She's been around since Street Fighter 2. And she's been obsessed with taking down Vega, the entire time who was responsible for the death of her father.
イングリッドじゃ。まあ展開からの使者とでも覚えておけ。
Ingrid is somewhat of a Ingrid is something else, let me tell you.
で、
イングリッドじゃ。まあ展開からの使者とでも覚えておけ。
That's the funny thing about her. I do not remember Ingrid at all. She's voiced by Masako Joe. It's like most of the fighting games that I've ever played, being, you know, Street Fighter, Tekken, King of Fighters, that sort of thing, that has a character like this. Like, she's cute, she's this, she's that, but she has a lot of mysterious backstory going on. I don't get that. So, the way I see it is this. I'm going to go through this the way I want to do. My brush with Street Fighter has been always with Street Fighter 2. I grew up around Street Fighter 2. And, you know, within Street Fighter 2, then, you know, it just kept going with Street Fighter 2 until they decided to do Street Fighter 3. And then Street Fighter 3 was like, oh, we're just going to have these 3 games. And my brush with Street Fighter 3 was through the Dreamcast. Street Fighter 4... around the time I had 360. I still have my 360, but it's not, you know, hooked up. Street Fighter 5, I'm like, okay, I see where it's going with it. Okay, whatever. And you see me do Street Fighter on my channel, so there you go. It's about the same thing. You go for Fireball, you go through the motion with the Fireball, you go through the motion with the Dragon Punch, you go through the motion with the Hurricane Kick. And I'm one of those few people who actually know the actual words to the Hurricane Kick, which is Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. Even if they say it real fast, like Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku! There's some people who just don't get it. They'll get Hadouken, they'll get Shoryuken, but they never did actually get Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. It's usually, in other versions, Sasasuke. Because all you hear is Sasasuke! I never did understand that. Until I just basically listened to it really carefully. It's just like Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. Just so they're just saying it real fast. The clip is just really fast. Like, you hear it slow, it's like Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. Speed up, Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. Speed up, Tatsumaki Senpu Kaku. Which sound like Sasaki. So next we go into Devil May Cry.
便利やデビルメイくらいのダンテだ。合言葉は
Dante is voiced by Toshiyuki Morikawa, as well as brother
伝説の魔剣士の力を継ぐのは一人でいい。
Virgil, Hiroki Aki Hirata. Now, to be truthfully honest, I've only played on channel the first Devil May Cry. I actually own the whole series in DVD, not DVD, in CD form. So I do have all of the PS2 Devil May Cry games from 1 to 3, even the special edition. And I plan to do the other 2. I don't plan to go into the whole rest of the series per se, but what I plan to do is like to say I'm going through the first 3, the classic Devil May Cry series, and that's it. And as you can tell, Dante and Virgil are polar opposites, because even though they're both hybrids, their ambitions are totally different. Like, Dante's aware of his powers, but he's like, yeah, I'm aware. I just want to get something to eat. I gotta make money. He'll do whatever it takes to get it. He'll do whatever it takes just to do that. Just to get himself a meal. I mean, if you've seen the first of the series, Dante was all like, okay, I'll take the job. How much will it cost? And all of a sudden, what? And then it gets deeper. Then it gets deeper than that. Virgil, I believe, is from Devil May Cry 3. And as I said, 2 episodes, same coin. One seeks power, one doesn't. Dante's the one that doesn't. He just wonders about when's his next meal and when is he ever gonna get laid. But mainly, when's his next meal?
クリス・レッドフィールドは BSA として戦っている。
Okay. Devil, I mean, not Devil May Cry, but Biohazard. Resident Evil. Chris Redfield, voiced by Hiroki Tochi.
ジル・バレンタイン BSA に所属しているわ。
Jill Valentine, voiced by Atsuko Yuya.
俺の名はレオンだ。エージェントをやってる。
Leon S. Kennedy, voiced by Toshiki Morikawa. Leon Scott Kennedy. Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield. Devil May... oh, I've been through a lot. Biohazard, otherwise known as Resident Evil. Never been a fan of horror games. Really, I've honestly... The only way I'd play through certain games of this caliber is like it has to be in a way that I just get through the game and just that's it. Like I went through one of the mainstream games in a co-op with my buddy Ryu. My swan song was basically I beat the living tar out of one of the main bad guys, and I just walk out. I just unleash hell upon the populace, and that's it. It's about the same thing with, well, let's say, the Wii games, I should say. The Wii games, the Dead Aim, Gun Survivor, I've played those type of games. But as far as that is concerned, that's as far as we'll go because I don't really care much for horror. Plus, you've seen one Resident Evil Let's Play, you've seen them pretty much all. So, you know, just saying, oh, hey, why don't you do a Resident Evil Let's Play? No. Because I don't feel like trying to control, do this. Like, I'm controlling my character and moving as slow as shit. And it's a survival horror. Now, you know what's funny about this? Clock Tower somewhat has a little throwback to Sweet Home, but no one's ever actually made like a remaster or reimagining of Sweet Home. And I've seen the movie. And people be like, "Oh, you've never seen the movie." Like, oh, I've seen the movie. That only means one thing. When I turn my brain off, that means I don't give a shit. I can only deal with so much shit. So especially with horror. And like, horror is the only one out of all the genre video games that I just do not have the tolerance for. And I just basically turn that shit clean off. Moving on.
エイダウン通常女に聞くものじゃないわよ。
デミトリ・マキシモフ、マカイ7代貴族、マキシモフ家の当主。
Ah, yes, we move to Darkstalkers with the characters of Dmitry Maximov, voiced by Nobuyuki Hiyama.
森ガンアンスランド、こう見えて魔界の貴族ね。
Morgan Enslan, voiced by Rie Tanaka, and
私、フェリシア、ミュージカルスターだよ。
and Felicia, voiced by Kana Atsumi. What else can I say about this series? And what the hell happened to it after the 3 games? It's just like they just vanished straight off the map. I mean, Darkstalkers, in any stretch of the imagination, was an interesting fighting game. But, you know, after Puzzle Fighter, you only see like a few characters show up in other crossover games like Marvel vs. Capcom. I think that's the only thing. You've only seen some characters in Marvel vs. Capcom and nowhere else. And like I said, Darkstalkers just straight off poofed clean off the map, even with that terrible ass short-lived cartoon series that I remember from the USA Network. Don't know why. And how horrible the animation was. Don't know why. I just find it weird that it's like series just poof clean off the map. Explain that to us, Capcom. We're listening. Moving on.
イレギュラーハンター第17部隊隊長 X だ。
X, otherwise known as Rockman X, voiced by Takahiro Sakurai.
イレギュラーハンター第ゼロ特殊部隊隊長ゼロだ。
And Zero, voiced by Yotaro Okiaru. Mega Man X is one of those series that basically just fizzles clean out. Because it's like, it's like it was supposed to have an ending, but it never did have an ending. It's like you had, from what I can tell, there was 8 in the main series, 1 Gaiden, and there were retelling of, and there was retelling in between, like say the Game Boy Color games. But it's like with every other Mega Man series, like this one, I don't know. It's like something fell apart in between all this. Like there was supposed to be an ending, but it never did. It never did come to pass. It's a damn shame. even with
飛竜より本部
no, I should
任務を開始する
I shouldn't say that. Strider Hiru, otherwise commonly known as Strider, voiced by Kosuke Torumi. This is one of those series that just, again, is like it was there and like, that's it. It's like we haven't seen another series since the 2013 remake of the series. I remember it was just like with Bionic Commando. It's like, okay, it was just there and there's. Of course, people don't know much about Bionic Commando because it really is. It really did start with Commando, then Bionic Commando. Well, actually, it's in order. Commando. I forgot that other name for it, but it was like when Super Joe came home. The Speed Buster or Speed something. And then there was Bionic Commando, otherwise known as Top Secret. I think it was a Speed Rumbler or something. I don't know. It's been so long since I played any of the old school Capcom games. But Strider is one of those series, just like with anything else coming from Capcom. If it's not Street Fighter, if it's not Mega Man, excuse me, if it's not Street Fighter, if it's not Mega Man, they just poof out of existence. And Strider has basically like what, 3 or 4 games to its name. Because yes, there was the arcade game, the NES, which was based off the manga. Then there was the Genesis, which was based off the arcade game. Then they had to make a sequel because they feel like, oh, this is what happened after Strider 1. They call it Return to Darkness. And then they made a Strider 2. Capcom actually made Strider 2 compared to US Gold's Strider 2. And then there was something close to Strider, but not really Strider. It was like Strider called Cannon Dancer. And then after that, I don't know what happened after that. Then there was a remake. I kind of like that game. And at the same time, it's like Strider Hero reminds me of Golgo 13, actually. To be perfectly honest.
なるほど、龍一。なるほど、法律事務所。よろしく。
Moving on, we go to my favorite series, Ace Attorney, over here, known as Gyakuten Saiban over in Japan. His voice, of course, his name is Naruhodo Yuichi, which goes to show you that Naruhodo Yunosuke is Naruhodo Yuichi's, ancestor, otherwise known as the Great Ace Attorney. Over here, he's called Phoenix Wright, and as I said, it is one of my favorite series because it gives me a chance to lash out. So with Phoenix Wright, there's his sidekick.
私、綾里迷いです。霊媒師やってます。
Her name is Ayase. Mayoi Ayase, otherwise known as Maya Fei. She's voiced by Satomi Hanamura. And since then, it's like I've been going through, it's been one of my go-to series on the channel. I mean, you know, Ace Attorney. So whether I'm doing Ace Attorney Investigation, Great Ace Attorney, I will eventually have to go through all of them. Or at least the ones actually working. You know, it's like one of my go-tos, so I was like, you came for Ace Attorney, but you stayed for the food. It's enjoyable to me, honestly.
三剣レイジ検事をやっている
And he's voiced by Eiji Takemoto. Miles Edgeworth, otherwise known as Reiji Mitsurugi. I've been doing those games on stream actually. Because I feel like it's a detective game. It's a visual novel. So therefore it's like, they coincide with each other. One day I do Phoenix Wright, one day I do, you know, Miles Edgeworth. Sort of makes sense. So, you know, I found this weird for him to show up in this game, honestly. Because I was hoping, oh hey, this is what's going on. This is what happened. This is what happened. We're gonna get a turnabout court kind of mission here. I thought we were going to have Miles Edgeworth, Phoenix Wright, and Maya Fei do a triple Igiari. That would have been nice.
Commando チームのリーダーキャプテンコマンド
Ah, yes, the joke that never dies. So I am Captain Commando. And I gotta say, okay, he's voiced by Yotaro Okiao. And strangely enough, I don't know why, but whoever did his dub voice, whoever did his dub voice, I don't know why. It's just funny. It's like you haven't seen Captain Commando outside of anything. Sorry, Marvel vs. Capcom, you haven't seen him since. But funny that they mention all this in the game, which I noticed. The characters from Forgotten Worlds. Battle Circuit. Well, not Golden Axe. Excuse me. Alter Beast. Waganland, Toy Pop, Alex Kidd, you know, all these old school characters that no one remembers, but yet I'm one of those few people that do remember those characters. Capcom, otherwise known as Captain Commando, basically. If you really think about it, it's like Capcom, Captain Commando. It's like, okay, where you been? But as I said, the dub voice, whoever did his dub voice, I gotta ask the question: how much did they pay you to do that one line? Just say, Captain Commando.
スターグラディエーター所属のジュンリン・ミリアムよ。
Voiced by Yukari Tamura. Star Gladiator is just like every other lesser known Capcom game. Just piffed right off the map. Like, I played both the first and the second game. If not through main, through Redream. It's like, okay, whatever happened to Star Gladiator, it just like just vanished right off the map after the second game. And then we go to another city.
私はシルフィー。お客様のために努力いたします。
Sylphie, of course, is from Forgotten Worlds. I'm not actually going to go through most of the games that, most of this, but I'm just going to show you off the characters. Voiced by Rie Tanaka. Another one voiced by Rie Tanaka. So, Forgotten Worlds is one of those games that just been multi-ported over many other consoles. It never made an NES port, not like Section Z. And I'm surprised it never made a Super Nintendo port, but yet it made a Genesis port and a TurboGrafx 16 port. Probably something less than that, but those are the only two that come to mind. And let's not mention Sylphie. Oh, good lord.
結城明、北極圏を極めるため空風を積んでいる。
Akira Yuki, otherwise known in Sega as part of the Virtual Fighter series, voiced by Shinichiro Miki. To go along with
名など意味はないが、葉隠れの影丸と覚えておけ。
Takenobu Mikiyoshi, Kagemaru. Along with that,
衛星圏のパイチェンよ。よろしくね。
Pai-chan, voiced by Minami Takayama. Now these three, as I mentioned, Virtual Fighter is still ongoing. It's been around since the arcade. Arcade, Genesis, 32X, Game Gear, Sega Saturn. I'm not sure if there was a Dreamcast one, but I'm pretty sure that there was a PS4 version of Virtual Fighter. As well as a 360 and PS4 and possibly PS5. I'm one of the very few people who actually remember the anime's theme song, which is funny. Voiced by Akio Suyama.
帝国歌劇団花組新宮寺さくらです。
Voiced by Chisa Yokoyama.
エリカ・フォンティーヌです。パリでしかも歌劇団なんです。
Voiced by Noriko Hidaka.
ニューヨーク歌劇団星組ジェミニ・サンライズ。
Voiced by Sanae Kobayashi. Sakura Wars, otherwise known as Sakura Taisen, has been one of Sega's wild cards. Because it really is like that. It's like it's a wild card of a series. Because it starts off being a romance novel, then it turns into something else. Like basically something like say what's that? Tokimeki Memorial. That's what it reminds me of. If Tokimeki Memorial was merged with something else, you get Sakura Tyson. And I say it's merged with something else because it really is merged with something else. Because at one point it's this. It's a romance novel, and you pick your choice. And of course, whatever you say makes either your relationship better or worse. So technically, the secondary part was it's either a minigame or it's not. If it's not a minigame, it's an SRPG. If it's not that, then it's a puzzle. If it's not that, it becomes a Muso. For those who don't know Muso, it's hack and slash. 1 versus 1,000. That's basically Muso. Like Samurai Warriors. So it's like the last one that ever came out was basically romance novel Samurai Warriors. I could never understand the series, and I don't think I want to understand the series, but I only did like one of the series in which I had the PS2, no, not the PS2 version, but the Wii version of So Long My Love, which I mentioned in the Let's Play. That was the only game I actually had because it was just there and I just got it out of sheer, utter curiosity.
桐生一馬だ。今はただの仇をやってる。
Voiced by Takaya Kuroda.
真島五郎や。ま、簡単に言えやヤクザやね。
Voiced by Hidenari Ugaki. Actually, let's go. Let's go here.
ま、簡単に言えヤクザやね。
Ryuga Gotoku. Man, Ryuga Gotoku has been through a lot. From its earlier times in the PS2 era, then it slid on somewhere in the PS3, and then got a remaster for the PS4, and yet not all the series is not out. That's fine. I talk about the PS. Oh yeah, and there's the PSP. And all of a sudden, I get something from Sylvanera about the PS, the Vita. Moving on. 1 sec. Now, let me tell you something about this series. I actually enjoy a good crime story. Actually, it's like my alternative to say horror. Like I don't like horror. I like crime and suspense more than I like horror. It's like I grew up reading Dick Tracy, so therefore it kind of has an effect on my taste in video games because I happen to like crime and suspense more than I like horror. It's like horror is like it's like a dime a dozen, but when you have something like crime and let me do that. Sorry about that. I was saying a series like Yakuza, when you have crime and suspense.
ま、簡単に言えヤクザやね。
It's for some reason I happen to like Yuga Gotoku over, say, Resident Evil. Because you give me a series that has crime and suspense, you got me. You got me right when you said crime and suspense. If it plays something out like Dick Tracy or The Untouchables, or even something like this, I say, hell, I might want to do true crime, streets of LA or New York, you know. Hell, even The Godfather, I don't mind. Like I said, I prefer this over horror. Because, as I said, horror is like a dime a dozen. And for those who are wondering when I said horror, horror. 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 Not horrors. Because, of course, we know horrors are a dime a dozen. But that's besides the point. No. Horror movies are basically a dime a dozen too. It's like, you've seen one, you've seen all. Another series that I plan to do in the future, with these in mind, and it's also a Sega franchise, is
PMF のゼファーさ。仕事？まあぼちぼちかな。チームバシュロンのリーダー、バシュロン様さ。
チームバシュロンのリーンベルです。修行中なの。
Renaissance of Fate. I mentioned I got that game recently, so it's like this. I got
PMF のゼファーさ。仕事？まあぼちぼちかな。
So they're voiced by Hiro Shimono.
チームバシュロンのリーダー、バシュロン様さ。
Ken Narita.
チームバシュロンのリーンベルです。修行中なの。
And Ayendo.
特殊
Let me go back.
チームバシュロンのリーンベルです。修行中なの。
Yes. Let me. I didn't mention this, but for quite some time, it's like this game has been so enigmatic. And even though it's done by Sega, I'm like, you know what? Part of me says I gotta get this game. Because the way I've been, you know, the way I play certain games, like, I want to go crazy. This is one of those games I feel I need to go crazy with. I've never played Renaissance of Fate. But I did buy myself Renaissance of Fate last PS4 sale. I plan to do it sometime in the future for 2022, maybe 2023. I'm not sure. But I plan to do it. Oh yes, plan to do it. Oof. Next, we got...
私はカーディナルガリジャノン。
Moving on.
オボロ一族当主、ホツマ。任務は理解している。
私はヒバナ、忍び機関のエージェントよ。
A series I ran into when I was living in Japan was Shinobi, the PSC version. Well, actually, I ran into its sequel, known as Kinuchi. Over here, it's called Nightshade. Now, and I've only seen like a little bits and pieces of the game, but I do have a download of it. You know. But I've never played Nightshade. But I have played a bit of Shinobi. Excuse me, on. I got up early, so you know I had his Dice Farm. Went there early, and you know, just been through a lot. Anyway, Shinobi has been around since the late 80s, starting with the first, namely Joe Musashi, and Shadow Dancer. And then we got Hotsuma and Hibana, which are basically the last known shinobi we've actually ever seen since. Now, should I ever do Shinobi on my channel? Yeah, I will, eventually. It'll take some time, but I gotta figure out which version I want to do. There's the PS2 version, and then there's the DS version. It'll come to me in time.
葉月武漢の葉月亮柔術なら少しは心得てる
Voiced by Masaya Matsukaze. Shenmue. Shenmue is basically the game that put Ryuga Gotoku on the map. Because if it weren't for this game, if it weren't for the original trilogy of Shenmue, there would be no Ryuga Gotoku. There would be no Yakuza. So, yes. Anybody who's ever wondered about this game, you never played this game, try it for yourself. Because I've only played like only a bit of it, but I never did upload because I had a whole mass load of files that I was going to do, but it never came to pass. And this was going to be one of my future Tenkai projects. It still is on the Tenkai project list, but I don't know when I'm going to actually put it into, say, doing this. Because it is a very long, very detailed game. And oh boy. Oh boy. That's all I'm going to say. Oh boy. For those who don't know who Segata Sanshiro is, the name and the voice should seem familiar to you. Hiroshi Fujioka. You're wondering why I call him Kamen Rider 1? Because he is Kamen Rider 1. He is the first of the longest running tokusatsu series in the history of all of Japan. Kamen Rider basically started off, in the 70s and still going strong today. 50 years old. But the franchise itself is 50 years old. And this guy, who basically lent his voice to this game, is number one, Kamen Rider Ichigo. So therefore, it's like if you never heard of Kamen Rider, oh my god, where have you been? You have never heard of Kamen Rider, where have you been? I mean, the only influence I ever had out of the whole series was when they brought over RX and they dubbed it as Mask Rider, Saban's Mask Rider. Even though it was like a whole hell of a mess, that's what we got. It's like when Power Rangers came over here, we didn't know it came from Koyu Sentai Z Ranger. We didn't know there was we didn't know anything about Super Sentai even after the fact. It's like, oh, after the blow up with Shout Factory, oh, there's more to this than meets the eye. I'm pretty sure Shout Factory has been working to get all of Tokusatsu over here. That means the Metal Heroes, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, and those in between. Yeah. And yes, he's been playing Segata Sanshiro since And I'm glad they actually remember. It's like even the Sega characters know, okay, they bow their heads to him because they know he is the dude.
Space Channel 5のうららです。
She is actually voiced by herself. Now, I know her. Now, I read a wiki on her. And the thing is, her dub is actually Apollo Smile. Her dub voice is Apollo Smile. So if ever you've played Space Channel 5, her dub voice is Apollo Smile. Everybody who remembers Sci-Fi back in the day, that's her. When she used to do, when they used to show anime, that's the person they got. I forgot when it was, because it's been so long ago. But it's like, Space Channel 5 is one of those games that basically just seemed better if it was more like done in a DDR style than how Sega does. Because when Sega does something like this, like Rhythm, it doesn't do well. I mean, I played Yakuza 0. Yeah, I didn't like the minigame with the with how they did the rhythm. Like, I prefer if it's rhythm, just go to Konami for that. They do DDR. If you want beats, Taiko. You go to Namco for that. But don't bring it to Sega. Oh no. Don't ever bring it to Sega.
特殊捜査課のアクセルストーンだ。よろしくな。
Voiced by Tomokazu Tsukida. Bare Knuckle, otherwise known as Streets of Rage. 4 games from Genesis to now. There was a Game Gear version of Streets of Rage with only 2 characters, which was only Axel and Blaze. And this is before he grew that beard. I never did understand why, after so long, like, okay, after Streets of Rage 3, what happened to you? It's like Cody from Final Fight. What happened to you? Streets of Rage is one of my favorite personal beat-em-ups. Out of all the beat-em-ups I've ever played, it is basically one that I can say I can go back to. But I honestly prefer the older version of Streets of Rage to the newer version of Streets of Rage because, I don't know, the older version, I mean the newer version just don't feel like the same. It just feels a bit more sluggish, and I can feel that. Whereas if I was playing Streets of Rage Remake or Streets of Rage Regular, I could feel the difference in the speed.
風間陣呪われた血の仕組み乗り越えてみせる
Voiced by Shin Chiba.
三島和この怒り恨み忘れはせん
Voiced by Masanori Shinohara. And
林小友だよ。中国憲法はまだまだ修行中。
also voiced by Maya Sakamoto. And
わしが三島平八じゃ鉄拳王と呼ばれた無双の男よ
voiced by Unsho Ishizuka. Tekken, otherwise known as the other half of a family feud gone horribly, 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 horribly wrong. Out of all the fighting games I've ever ran across, this was one that basically just felt so goddamn sluggish. It's nothing like Soul Calibur, you know, or rather, I shouldn't say Soul Calibur, Soul Edge. It's nothing like Soul Edge, because it just feels like it's very sluggish. As it, even with the different fighting styles, it just feels like you take one punch, it feels slower than taking that second punch. You go into a combo, it feels sluggish, so it gives you like a half second to block. So it's like, I didn't really care much for Tekken. The only one I ever had in my collection was 3. I never did have anything other than 3, not to my knowledge. And I tried the rest. It was like, I just couldn't get into it.
ギブとブレイブ・ベスペリアのユーリ・ローエルだ。
Voiced by Kosuke Torini.
僕は帝国騎士団のフレンシーフォだ。
Voiced by Mamoru Miyano. And
エッセルです。世界が穏やかであるように願ってます。
voiced by Mai Nakahara. Okay, out of all the Tales games that I've ever played, this is actually one of those games that basically will tire you out because of this character right here, Izzyvs Person. I'm sorry, but I understand being sheltered. I've been sheltered all my life, and I somewhat managed until something happened to me. Then I realized I had a problem. I could look at Estelle. She is basically, I am the problem. I mean, we in our group, the RCO, we just do not like her. It's like, out of all the people, out of all the female characters that Brave Vesperia has in their group, you could have taken Rita. You could have taken Judy. Hell, we're not going to even say what you could have done with Patty, but Estelle, of all people, Estelle. The one person who gave you a headache just because she was on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again, on again, off again. Over Flynn. I mean, if I was Yuri, I'm like, okay, Estelle, first off, could you fucking stop talking about Flynn? I know Flynn, okay? You don't know him like I know Flynn. Okay, that's the one thing you do not know. I know Flynn just like you know Flynn, but I know him better than you know him. It's like, Estelle is one of those people I just want to just stick my... Well, actually, no, I don't. It's like, nah, I just want to, like, nope. I would do anything to shut her up. It's like, she's a walking Wikipedia. It's like, I understand you're trying to remember everything from jump, but please stop. And then we move on. I mean, it's anime Tales games I've ever played. That's like one of the most tiresome of the Tales games I've ever played. I will eventually finish that game. Because the only thing I have to do is just go to the final dungeon. And truth be told, I did play Tales of Vesperia once on the 360, but the problem was when I got to the final dungeon, the data got corrupted and I couldn't never finish it. So that's the only reason why I'm doing Tales of Vesperia for my own benefit, just to finish it. And then after that, move on. probably the lesser known Tales games. Like probably go back to Innocence or maybe Abyss, if not that, Destiny, if not that, Legendia, even something more than that. Anything, even the Tales of the Worlds, I will even go through that. Oh right, I still got Symphonia to finish, so I probably had to finish that. Then probably get myself working back into 5th grade. But I'm really saying this. Tales is one of those tiresome RPGs though. It's not timeless, it's tiresome because it does really drag on for some time.
特殊部隊ブラッド副隊長シエル・アランさんです。
Voiced by Mamiko Noto.
特殊部隊ブラッドの光月奈々だよ。武器はブーストハンマー。
Voiced by Emi Kato. God Eater plays something like 2 games I've tried before. One is Monster Hunter, and the other Tokiden. But I feel it plays more like Tokiden than Monster Hunter. The weapons feel Monster Hunter-ish, but the run around feels more like Tokiden. Like you're slashing up the origami in every area until you get to the main one, which is like the huge big ones. Like the ones you've seen in this game. And the difference between the first game and the second game are basically the leads.
独立支援部隊クレイドルアリサ・イリーヌ・チナーミエラです。
Also voiced by Maya Sakamoto. And as I said, you know, it's like as I said, I went through this game before the first game. I still need to go back to the first game. I thought about it, and it's like one of those games I really do need to go back to. Just my backlog has been piling up, and I've been trying to chop it down since. God Eater is on that list.
ザ・ワールドでツインユーザーをやっているカイトだよ。
Voiced by Saika Aida.
俺はハセオ。気分使いのハセオだ。
Voiced by Takehiro Sakurai. God Hack is one of those series that I can say I've tried watching. But I'd say the story is reminiscent to Sword Art Online. But I think God Hack was done a little bit better. Than Sword Art Online. And I have been kind of curious about the series. I mean, I tried watching anime when it was on, but I could never somehow get into it. Not because I wasn't interested, but, you know, I had a lot of stuff going on. So it's like, I can never actually focus on that one anime. Maybe I ought to change that.
私はアウラ。ザ・ワールドに光あらんことを。
I know she's been doing a lot of these voices.
神羅のエージェント、工業抜刀法のアリス・レイジだ。
Now we get to the final parts of this, which is Kazuhiko Inoue, voiced by, you know, Reiji Aris.
神羅のエージェントシャオム。その正体は狐の変化。
Voiced by Omi Minami.
神羅の装備家課長の浦島千鶴 博士と呼ぶようにいつも。
Voiced by Marika Koda. Now, in a whole about the series, Project Cross Zone, the ones I haven't covered out of this whole series, and basically it's from Project Cross Zone 1, are the characters from Shining Force EXA. That is on my list of games that I plan to do. The randomizer I have. So, as a whole, as far as Project Cross Zone is concerned, or actually Namco Cross Capcom, because that's where it originally came from. This whole series came from Namco Cross Capcom. I'll get back to it in a moment.
私は対グノーシス専用人型相当兵器 KPX コスモス
Cosmos, talking about Xenosaga. That's one of those series I tried liking. I really couldn't get into it. And even if I were to do it as a Let's Play, I really could not get into it. It's like the music would pretty much kill you. Because it doesn't have any other battle music other than that one piece that you hear throughout 99% of all combat. You just hear that one piece of music.
私は夏、ブーマ州の忍び、夏。
From Soul Calibur 5, Fuyuka Ora.
アティです。昔は軍人だったんですけど、今は家庭教師です。
Voiced by Ayako Kawasumi. Summon Night 3, I will get back to that in a bit.
ワルキューレです。乙女の騎士とも呼ばれています。
Voiced by Kikuo Inoue. I will get to that in a bit.
毎度ありがとうございます。空中院のみゆきです。
Fumiko Orikasa. I will get back to that in a bit.
おいら、タノスケ。ルーゴ上は、まあ、常連かな。
Voiced by Ai Orikasa.
乙姫と申します。竜軍へようこそ。お疲れでしょう。
Voiced by Miyuki Matsushita.
私、ピオラン。みんなと一緒にいられるって、とても素敵なことね。
Eddie Nakao.
イーリス西王国西王代理のクロムだ。
Tomozaku Sugita.
ルキナです。絶望の未来を救ってみせます。
Voiced by Yu Kobayashi. Now, okay, I'll put it like this. Xeno, anything outside of Xenogears, I'm not gonna do. Because I'd rather just do Xenogears and that's it. I don't see myself doing Xenosaga or Xenoblade Chronicles anytime too soon because I told you why I didn't like Xenosaga. There's a reason why I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles. There's a huge lack of story there. And basically you gotta go through a whole mess of side quests in order to get to a story. It's a lopsided piece of shit mess of a game. And I'm sorry if I'm hurting people's feelings, but it really is a lopsided piece of shit RPG of a game. It's like you're doing 99%. The game is 99% side quests and 1% main quests. And the only way you can find the rest of the story is you have to go through mainly the side quests. And then it'll just even itself out slowly but surely. And I played other games that had a better run and feel for different games, you know, as far as stories are concerned. Hell, I went through Snatcher on stream. And regardless of what happens, like, you went through this, you went through this, you went through this, you went through a whole lot of detective work, and sometimes you shot some people, and throughout 3 acts, once you realize the whole plot dump, the plot just dumps it right in front of you. Okay, this is what really went down. This is the reason why you don't remember this. This is the reason why ABCDEFG. This is why you're going through all this shit. This is the reason why your wife's going through all this shit. This is the reason why you do not remember what happened. Xenoblade Chronicles is one of those series that basically, oh hey, we got a story, but you gotta find your way through this. I'm sorry. What? No, not doing it. Not doing it at all. No. Okay, for those who are wondering about Ordyne, I used to have the arcade, well, not the arcade game, but I used to have a ROM of the arcade, and it never played really well. But it played out something like Fantasy Zone. Strangely, that's why I remember. It's like it played out like Fantasy Zone. It's like Namco's version of Fantasy Zone was Ordyne. That's all I can say. As for, let's see, Boken, Valkyrie no Boken, I also did that on channel. It was an arcade game as well. And there was an English patch version of The Adventure of Valkyrie, as well as like the little summons she calls out, like Ragan and Pino and Anna from Toy Pop and the rest. Namco Collection. It's about the same with Ulala and, you know, the characters from Space Harrier, GOK, otherwise known as Ultra Beast, as well as Opa and Outfit, Genesis Collection. Plus, I had these games. I played this game before. I have it all on the computer, as well as I have a physical copy of it. Now, Shadowland.
おいらタスケ。ルーゴ上はまあ常連かな。
It's one of those games that I've never ran into because that was like a Japan only kind of game. So the only Japan only games I've ever played were like Semi-Gos, the Genji and Hiki clans, and Getsufuma. But I've never played Shadowland before. I've heard about it, but I've never really played it. And as for Fire Emblem, I'm more of a Shining Force person than Fire Emblem. I prefer Shining over Fire Emblem because, you know, Fire Emblem, it's more my friend 40 Warriors. That he's more into Fire Emblem. This guy, whenever he does a strategy RPG on his channel, it's usually something like Disgaea or Fire Emblem. And usually, you know, he takes you through the ropes of what he went through with his run of the game. If he played it before, he will tell you exactly the stats and figures he went through. Me, you don't get that. So you get a little bit of what the game runs with, but as far as anything else concerned, you don't get that. And like I said, I'm more into Shining Force over, say, Fire Emblem. Because there's a little thing called permadeath. Yeah, I don't like permadeath. I don't really like losing characters I don't really need to lose. Like, I went through Fire Emblem once on channel. I think that's enough. I tried to do it a second time with the with Path of Radiance. Again, like, I don't know what happened. Maybe I lost interest. Maybe I just like, you know what? I don't know. You give me something like Super Robot Tyson, however, okay. Now we talking about language. We talking about blowing shit up. Now, last thing about Project Crossover, or should I say Namco Cross Capcom.
Watashi
シンラのエージェント防御抜刀法のアリス・レイジだ。
I've never played the first game. When it first came out, I never knew it existed, but I knew it was out. It was never ported over here. I waited until it got fan translated. So when I got through this game a second time, because the first time I actually went through this game, it was basically on my 3DS. That was the first time. Second time I went through it was on the emulator, when I was doing it on the channel. They're not going to do a Project Cross Zone 3. For that one person wondering, no, they're not going to do a Project Cross Zone 3. If they did, they would have to bring everyone back from the very first game from Namco Cross Capcom to make a Project Cross Zone 3. They would have to redraw the first cast of Project. Well, you don't have to redraw it. Just they would have to make it more streamlined. Like if you see how they were in the first game, the very first game, it's like Udon did the drawings. So you know, it's like they looked all kind of weird, and you know, it's like they weren't looking like this. This is totally redrawn up, and this is basically his Endless Frontier look, which I'm glad they actually basically used that. Oh yeah, that's another series that's not on here, but it's in the previous game, Endless Frontier. Actually, as a whole, I'm actually glad I went through Project Cross Zone. It's one of those games that I just say, you know what? Let's just do this. Let's just knock it out of the park. I said, I did the first game. I might as well do the second game. I said, I'll eventually have to get to Namco Cross Capcom, but at least I want to finish. I want to see how it's all going to end a second time for me. First time for everybody else, but probably a second time for me. Aside from that, it's like I had to say to this one guy who constantly just like, more please, keep them coming. I said, you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. A little bit of more please, keep them coming. But please don't ever do what you just said, which was, oh hey, I gotta tell you about the ending. No, don't tell me about the ending. But I gotta. No, I already know about the ending. part of me wants to say, I know about the ending because I played the game before. Really, I have. I played the game before. It's not like nothing really changed. It's like, if I do it a different way, it's like, okay, y'all should know me by now. So I don't feel like grinding when I don't really have to grind. This is one of those games I don't feel like grinding because I don't really want to grind. It's like, I had to look all across the board, just see, oh, there's an item there. Oh, there's an item here. Oh, there's an item there. No. I said, if I really need the item that bad, look, I'll put in a code. Okay, there's 99 of these in my inventory. Because basically, it's like your inventory is just basically bottomless. You got X amount of characters. With X amount of God knows what. I mean, I went through mainly almost all of the series. All the series that you've seen here that has pretty much been kept like a long time secret because, oh hey, I've done Virtual Fighter, I've done God Eater, I never finished it. I've done Street Fighter, I've done Tekken, I've done Mega Man X, I've done Devil May Cry, I haven't done Dot Hack, I've done part of the New Shining, I've done Sakura Tyson. Hell, most people know me through Ace Attorney. I tried to stomach through Space Channel 5. I do like the music. But the only way I went through Space Channel 5 is like, oh, hey, let's just do this. Oh, there's another series that I didn't mention. Summon Night before I finish this video. Summon Night, the only games I remember playing are the Game Boy Advance games, which was Summon Night, Swordcraft Story. 1. Because that's the only one I actually have. 1. I've heard 2 wasn't as good as 1. And there's a 3, but it was never brought over here. And it's really a goddamn shame. You know, that's a series that I really want to go back to. Out of the main series that I have been playing on this channel, it's like one of the series that I really want to go back to. It's like I've never played another Summon Night game since the first game. And if there is a fan translated version of 3, I would love to do 3. But aside from that, all I gotta say is, this series, in a whole, this series as a whole has been something else, you know. It really has. I mean, I clocked in throughout, like, say, 61 hours and some odd minutes on this one game alone. I've only completed this game once. I don't see myself doing a new game plus. It's not really worth it just to go through all 47 stages. I don't feel like going through those 47 stages ever again. Because really, it was not, you know, just to say, oh, hey, there's an extra scene. No. Oh, you want the sound test? Oh, clear the game. I cleared the game. Anything else? That's about it? Oh, that's it? But really, this game has been enjoyable. It's been fun, you know. I've really just had my fun with this game. And I'm glad I went through it. So if there's anything else, well, I do have another game I'm working on in the background, and that's Front Mission 3 for the Sony PlayStation 1. And I'm stating it right now, cheats may be involved. If things get very dicey, I can always use cheats. But if not, I'm going to just play it as is. So when that shows up, most likely it'll be somewhere in 2022. I hope you look forward to it, and I hope you stick around for more great content. As for me, I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, and this was Project Cross Zone 2, brought to us by Namco and Associates in 2015. The original series came out last sooner than that. The first was 3 years ago, so that's like Project Cross Zone in 2012. So until next whatever I do, I've been your friendly neighborhood Tenkaichi, PXZ, and this was Project Cross Zone for the Nintendo 3DS. And I'll see you with some more great content. My next Let's Play that you're going to see next week is going to be Samurai Jack, Battle Through Time, and a little bit of Digimon World. And before I end this video, I want to wish you all the very merriest of Christmas and a happy and safe New Year. And anything that I'm going to work on will continue on to the new year. You just won't be seeing it after, say, New Year's. So, I mean, the only thing you'll see is Samurai Jack, but that's probably it. Otherwise, I'll see you next time with Samurai Jack, Digimon World, and probably something else. So until then, Daitenso! See you next game.